Morning, y'all. We are back out in the shop again. So what we're gonna do today is a real quick video on anti-sway bars and sway bar disconnects, and kind of hopefully give you the knowledge you need to decide what you want to do with yours on your Cherokee. So the reason we're doing this is because I cannot keep, I've got this rough country, well, what's left of a, when I bought this Cherokee, it had a rough country lift on it. And I've already replaced all the control arm. It's 4-linked now with Rusty's off-road stuff. And the only thing left on it that's from rough country is the springs and the sway bar disconnects. So this is your sway bar here. And you see it's basically a lever. It rotates on the axis of these bushings. There's one on each side. And then you got the arm out, and then it hooks to your axle right there. And the idea behind this is it's actually a torsion bar. And the reason I'm replacing what I'm going to do today is replace the disconnects, and the reason why is because this keeps falling off. So ever since I've owned this thing, these rough country sway bar disconnects, this bolt's constantly coming loose, and then this nut on the end of this little for lack of a better term, little bitty tie rod end keeps coming off. So the other day I kept hearing a rattling, and I looked, and the only thing holding this one on the passenger side was the little spring clip. So I just took the spring clip off, and I've been driving it for the last week without the, once you take one of those disconnects off, you're basically running without a sway bar. But you can do that. It's not the end of the world. So let's talk about what the sway bar does for you. Sway bar prevents body roll. So if you're looking at your vehicle from the top, your sway bar looks something like this. And you've got a bracket here and a bracket here. These have rubber bushings in them. And then there's a hole and a hole. So that's looking at it from the top. So from the side, you'll see this like this. And this is a lever that can go basically up and down on each side. And then that's hooked to your axle by your sway bar link. So if you're looking at the vehicle from the front, you've got your axle here, and you got your coil springs, tires, and then your body's up here, right? So as you go around a corner, your vehicle is going to lean. That's called body roll. So what happens with the sway bar, this sway bar is actually a torsion spring. And because it's attached to the body here, and then also attached through the links to your axle, so try to see if I can draw this where you can understand what I'm getting at here. So if this is your body and this is your axle, as this body leans, your torsion spring sway bar is here, and it's attached to the body here and here, so it can swing up and down. So as you go into a corner and this body pulls up, this sway bar disconnect is going to start pulling down on this side of that torsion spring. Well, as you pull down on this side, it's going to pull this side down as well. But you've also got a sway bar disconnect there pushing against it. So it's working in the opposite direction. So if we actually look on the Cherokee, so if you're going around a corner and the body is leaning, say you're going around a left-hand corner and your body starts leaning towards the driver's side, obviously. As the body leans down, this end is going to push up on this lever here, right? Well, at the same time, on the passenger side, as your body starts to try to lean that way, well, now you've got this link that would be here that's attached to the same bar, and it's going to be pulling down, because as this body raises, this is going to pull down on this. So the torsion spring works in opposite directions, and it keeps the body rolled to a minimum. I'm not sure if it's clear in my head, but I'm not sure if I've made that clear where you can understand it. Hopefully I have. So with a Cherokee or any other off-road vehicle, you can, if it's strictly a trail vehicle, then there's no reason to have the sway bars on there. You can pull the sway bars off and drive. Even if it's a street vehicle, you can pull the sway bars off and drive it, and you'll be just fine. You'll just have to realize that you're going to have body sway. And cars had body sway back in the day. It's part of the reason why the suspensions were much stiffer, was to alleviate some of that body roll. These coil sprung suspensions are pretty soft, and that lets the body roll more, which is why you have the sway bar. But if you're like me and you wheel and you daily drive the Cherokee, then you might want to put your disconnects on. And what the disconnects do is allow you to, what you can do is pull the clips out, and then disconnect them, and you can tie them up here. I usually just use a zip tie on it. And what that allows is, now instead of having both of your wheels hooked together with a torsion spring, that gives you a lot more articulation. Your axle can move down and your body can roll with it, which is good for slow off-road driving and not good for fast going around a corner on a highway. So hopefully I've made that clear. It's kind of hard to draw and show. Hopefully you can understand what I'm getting at with it. The whole point of this is because to me, the design of the rough country sway bar links is piss poor, because you've got this little tab thing here with one bolt in it, and all this keeps coming loose. So what we're going to do is replace them with these that have, instead of that, they still have one bolt, but it's a U-shaped saddle, and then an adjustable sway bar link with grease fittings. So that's how we're going to go. That's going to be a much better system, I think. So let me get the tools, and we'll slap these things on there and adjust them and be good to go. So I'll be right back with that. Alright, so I did the other side already. Just followed the directions and set everything up. So, trying to make sure I got this in the camera where you can see. Sorry about that. Alright. So first step, you got to pull off this old crap that's on here. pull that off. And we got to pull this piece off. There we go. So you got to put the new, for lack of a better term, bullet piece in there. Start the nut on it. And what I did is I just took and used a punch to hold the hole straight up and down, because that's where I want it. All right. That's on. This top link, bolt goes to the bottom. It's got a couple of big washers that go on it, and that goes on, and then your nut goes on. And make sure that you get the threaded part to the inside, because the bolt's got to go through there and thread into it. So alright, I seem to have set my socket down where I can't find it. I'll be right back. Alright, I found where I left my socket. So we gotta get Allen wrench up in there. Like that. We got our torque wrench. The directions say this has to be torqued to 40 foot-pounds, so that's what we'll do. All right. So now that we got that on, we can take our link, which I have already adjusted to match the other side. I'm going to put it in here with the grease zerks facing out so that I can grease it easily. And basically, you just put your screw in there and start it, get it started. And basically, you want to tighten this down until it clamps onto the piece on the inside, otherwise you're going to have a rattle. There, just like that. Alright, now that that's on, all we got left, we got a little plastic spacer that goes on this bullet, and then you can wrestle your link onto it like so, and then your pin goes on. Yeah, I gotta get that down in there a little bit farther. There we go. All right. Once you drive it a little bit, all that's going to loosen up a little bit, so that'll be good. And that's that. Now we'll just grease the grease fittings, and we'll be good to go again. Like I said, you don't necessarily need a sway bar, and if this was strictly a trail machine, I'd probably just unbolt all that and take it off. But I drive this to work every day, so those are going to be a much bigger improvement, especially with the greasable ends, than these stuff that came on the Cherokee when I bought it, which I believe are part of the rough country lift that used to be on it. That stuff there. So that's it for sway bars. We got some. I'm going to grease those zerks, clean everything up, and call it a day, because all month we've been band competition every Saturday, football games Friday, not much time to relax. So we will get this video up for the next weekend, and hopefully we have we're going to state with the band, so we'll be competing at the state level this weekend, well, this coming next weekend, and that should be our last competition. Then we can try to get back to normal. So hopefully this has helped some of y'all out. If not, hopefully it's entertained you a little bit. And oh, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I had already done this other side. I try to do one side so that I'm not spending as much time trying to find crap. All right. Appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see you in the next video.